Hi and happy Autism Awareness Month from all of us here at EAP Malaysia. So this is the last Q&A video that we'll be doing for the month of April in conjunction with Autism Awareness Month. So the last question we will be answering today is, I don't know what to do when my child throws a tantrum in a public place. What do I do when my child throws a big tantrum in a public place, for example, a mall, a supermarket, or a restaurant? Okay, so a simple, short answer in response to your child's behavior is what we would call a reactive strategy. So the reactive or the response strategy would be to, number one, don't give any attention, or what we would use the word extinction, to ignore your child's crying by not pacifying your child. At the same time, you will need to try to redirect your child's attention to something else. Now, this can be very difficult in a public setting because everyone is looking at you. So in summary, what we would do and advise parents is, if your child throws a massive tantrum, to actually pick up your child and say, okay, dinner is finished or our outing is finished, and actually carry your child back to the car and to go back home. Now, I know that's not easy, but that is a good consequence for your child to understand that if I'm going to throw this behavior in public, I'm not going to get what I want, and there's going to be a consequence and I have to go home. In reality though, to bring your child to a mall or to a community setting, there are 3 prerequisite skills that your child needs. The first is cooperation. Is your child able to respond to your instructions and to listen to what you're asking your child to do? The second is communication. If your child doesn't want to go where you are taking your child, or if your child is tired, or if your child is hungry, or if your child needs a break, is your child able to communicate to you? And are you communicating to your child the expectations of that community trip? The third thing to think about is your child able to cope with changes. So children that have a tantrum outside in the community, it's usually because they want to do something and their parents are wanting to do something else. So it's important to note that your child is able to be flexible and not rigid in his or her idea of how the day is going to go by. So what I would suggest to you to do is to prepare your child and to give your child predictability before the outing. You can set up 2 strategies. One is a social story, and the second is a visual schedule. So in my example here, I've taken one of the stories that we've used in the past here at EAP, and it's about going to BSC, Bangsa Shopping Centre. Now inside, you would start with, this is, and your child's face and his name, his or her name, the date. So on the 25th of August 2014, so-and-so goes to BSC. Then you would say your child's name goes to BSC with who and the teachers, if we are coming along. At BSC, what is going to happen at BSC? So first step is the jungle gym and the expectations at jungle gym. So that your child needs to stay with the friends and teachers, listen to the teachers, talk nicely, and take turns. Then your child can have snacks at Just Heavenly Cakes. So that is the reward for your child for doing all of the expected behaviors at Jungle Gym. At Just Heavenly, again, there are expectations to stay with friends and teachers, to talk nicely, to sit nicely, and to eat nicely. It will be fun. So in terms of the prerequisite skills, you're giving your child very clear communication, you're giving your child very clear guidelines to cooperate. Now you're actually going to go on the trip. We would recommend that you make a visual schedule using pictures, and you can have, maybe the first picture is the picture of a car, then you can have a picture of BSC, then you can have a picture of the gym as per the story, or wherever you are going, the cake shop, and the car again. Now immediately your child knows what is expected, that there's only so many transitions and then it's time to go home, and he or she is very successful. Now if there are changes at this point, let's say mommy, you want to go and buy some apples, you can just put there's a change. After the gym, we're going to buy some apples and then we're going to go and have some cake. Immediately you are communicating the changes and your child is able to cope better with the changes. Now the next point that you really need to do is you need to have practice. Here at EAP, if we want to have a successful community trip, we actually practice with the families and their children for a short period of time. So maybe we're just going to do this whole schedule for only 10 or 15 minutes at a time. So you do regular practice in short amounts of time and gradually increase the time so your child is successful and is rewarded, whether it's cake or whether it's a trip to Toys R Us or whether it's a special treat. So in summary, more importantly than what do you do if your child has a tantrum in the community, it would be how can you prevent your child from having a tantrum in the community. Try to go at a time that is going to be successful. If you know it's around nap time or your child's going to be hungry or tired, then that's not the right time to go. Also remember, is your child able to cooperate with you? Does your child have ways to communicate with you? Are you communicating with your child? Can your child cope with changes? Remember, before you go on your trip, to prevent behaviors, have predictability, use a social story, use a visual schedule, and then practice it. So when it's actual time for your real grocery shopping trip, your child is able to be successful. So thank you so much. We at EAP Malaysia have totally enjoyed Autism Awareness Month and preparing these Q&A videos for you. Please do give us some feedback, or if you have any more questions and would like us to continue making these videos, please send in your requests to info@autismmalaysia.com.